All right. Hello, everybody. Hey, thanks for joining. We're here at the Trep show. We got Alexis down there in the corner.
How you guys going?
And today we got on, I'm Gary Dobbs, host of the Trep show, and we've got Mark Jennison with us. Mark's an entrepreneur. He's started several companies. He's lost money. He's made money. He's made good choices. He's made bad choices. So we want to share his story with you, and so you guys can hear from an entrepreneur's perspective about his success, his struggles going through it. So we're glad to have you here. Mark, thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate to have you here.
Hey, man, guys, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. This is going to be awesome. I'm going to share some of my personal journeys that I've been through, and looking forward to helping maybe get some information, some people to not make decisions that I made.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to leave the seat open. So anybody that stops in or whatever, you have a question, you want to ask it on video, just call in. Or if you want to ask from the corner, make sure you hit that / and you can hit a question from there. So just a few minutes ago, Mark, you kind of started to get into how you got into entrepreneurship. So let's go back over that again. I asked you in the pre-show kind of like how you got started in entrepreneurship. You know, what was it? Was it a moment? Was it an event that you just said that, hey, this seems interesting? Or did somebody push you? What was it?
Like we talked a little bit, I kind of gave you a little bit of my background before. The turning point was, so before we even go into being the entrepreneur, I've been struggling with drugs and alcohol my whole life, but I've always been a hustler. Right? I didn't even know what an entrepreneur was until I realized I was one, if that makes sense. I did it way before it was cool, way before it was sexy, way before it was hip. I was hustling to make money. But the turning point when I became an entrepreneur and a businessman was when I was 27 years old. And my uncle owned a trucking company. He did okay. And he had cancer. He fought it for 3 years, got a clean bill of health on a Friday, died on his Harley on a Wednesday. Okay. He left behind massive amounts of debt, all these issues. I decided then I needed to make him proud. So I took the $9,000 I had, knew nothing about semis, nothing about business. I mean, I was basically baptized by fire, and I built it. And within the 7 years, about 7 years or so, I built it up into 43 semis doing multiple millions of dollars in sales. So that was my first real business.
Wow. That's awesome, man. That's so did you have any training? Was there anything that prepared you to kind of be running such a huge company?
No. Well, I mean, aside from the fact that I've been homeless, I was 14 years old, 15 years old. My parents got divorced. So I'd always been hustling. Like I've always been having to figure out where my next meal was. I don't have a formal education. Nobody taught me anything, but I lived on the streets. I put myself through high school, slept on my buddies' porches, did all the things I needed to do to keep surviving and moving forward. So I was a survivor before I was an entrepreneur, right? So I just basically crossed over those skills because I wanted it. I wanted to eat. I needed to build. And I believe I was blessed with some sort of business knowledge as it is, So no formal training. I barely made it through high school, to be honest with you.
Sometimes
you seem like such an honest guy. Oh, sorry, Alexis. What were you saying?
Sometimes I think that when you have that life of survivor and stuff, like it gives you more energy to actually reach your goals faster, because you pretty much probably saying, I don't know if that's right, but in your mind you're probably saying, if I don't make it, I'm not going to be able to eat or something. Is that how you felt sometimes?
I lived every day like that, man, from a kid up. So when it came into the business, all I realized was all of a sudden I have a tool. I'm not doing it illegally anymore. I'm not doing whatever it takes to make money, because let's be honest, the true entrepreneur is a drug dealer. I mean, I was doing stuff like that to survive. And as much as I don't want to talk about it, it's the truth.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden I had a tool. I had a vehicle. I had I had a little bit of cash. I was able to start making money, and I got paid right away. And I figured out how to make the money. And but you're right. I always, even to this day, I still wonder how am I going to get the next meal. It's something that's instilled inside of me.
That's awesome, man. I think that's really good. I mean, obviously, it's like you're like, well, if I could have learned it another way, that would have been better, right?
Here's the thing: I got a 6-year-old son, right? And I tell you about him. You see him on Facebook. He absolutely will probably fall in line with me in business and things. He wants to be just like me, but he's going to go to get a formal school. He's gonna have more opportunities. Maybe it won't be school, but he's gonna do it the right way, right? I'm gonna guide him all the way through. I mean, I do believe that I took some wrong turns, but I believe that my kid's gonna do it the right way.
True, man. Well, I think it is really, being an entrepreneur is about toughness. So, maybe you just didn't have the right people there for you at the right time to help you make better choices, and you just made the best choices that you possibly could at that time. And obviously, you've got to eat, you got to sleep, you got to have something over your head.
Right, but at the same time, there was the thrill, which comes from being an addict. I mean, an addict and an alcoholic. I mean, the thrill, the excitement. I mean, it was. It goes hand in hand. I was after the high of the business, the high. I continuously was searching and being thrilled at wanting more and more and more and more. I still, to this day, I want more and more and more. I'm never content, and I carry that into my business I'm building right now, and it actually, I think, is what makes me prosper.
I'm just wondering, actually, what happened on that time when you were pretty successful at that time, and then you suddenly did you suddenly change your mind and then decided to just enjoy more life and then go out more often, and that's how it became or what really happened?
How I lost everything?
Yeah. That's what I thought, because I feel like when you already build something, it's usually hard as well to lose it unless something happen and then makes your life harder.
The windfall of the money. Okay, so I was cocky, I was arrogant, and I had all these issues, right? I had all these addictions. I thought the money was never going to run out. I thought I was smart. I mean, I didn't take it. I took it for granted is what really truthfully happened. I mean, every single time I'd be, I didn't get any loans. So I have no actual loan debt over my head right now from what I did. So all the money that I did, I'd reinvest. Okay. So I reinvested. I grew. So what happened was I actually really lost it. I was buying out. I was diversifying from a transportation company into a plastics division. I had a tanning salon. I was buying a plastics company, a scrap company. I was buying some buildings. I got in bed with the wrong guy. Okay. And I was in a wrong state of mind. And I probably could have saved everything had I not been in such a bad spot. But I trusted, I believed, and I lost it all. So,
wow. So part of it you're saying was that business partner you had.
Yeah, I went to Jamaica for a little while, and basically what happened when I was gone and I left the country in thinking everything was going to be okay. Took my family down there. The guy that I had doing my books had terminal brain cancer or something. And they were going through finding what my most profitable things were on my book. Because the way that it worked, I was buying this building and I had buying the companies inside the building plus my business was in the building. I commingled everything. I gave them access to everything I had. So that was a mistake that I made because I trusted this guy. They sold me on the fact that they're going to come. They were with me. They're going to help me do better. Well, that was the biggest mistake I ever made. I mean, one of the biggest mistakes I ever made. By the time I got back from Jamaica, they'd figured they had messed up my receivables, messed up things. Remember, trucking is cash intensive. I mean, every month I'd spend $100,000 on fuel. It was a big deal. So they hurt my liquid, and then I was basically screwed, and they took my accounts.
Yeah.
Wow, man, that's terrible, man. I always hate to hear that with stories, but it's such a common thing because I even hear so many people that are successful and even celebrities that are well known, they'll still sometimes get into a bad situation and become, and get into a bad deal with a bad business partner. They learn they gotta catch it right away and be smarter, a little bit. So I guess, really just, be trusting of people, but also be skeptical at the same time, because that sucks when somebody can surprise you.
The truth is, the guy was a snaky dude, and he took advantage of the fact that I wasn't in my right frame of mind. Whose fault is that? I'm responsible. I'm the one that was using. I was the one that was drinking. I was the one that was partying like it was 1999 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it was, I didn't, every day of my life was a party. So who do I have to blame? Not him. It's me. And the fact that I can take responsibility for it and I'm having to rebuild my life again. I think was all supposed to happen. It's going to make my story even bigger when I make more money next time.
I like that, man. So what did you do next after this business, tanked and
we'll just talk about a short period in my life when things got really bad. The business tanked on May 15th. Okay. My ex old lady took my son away from me and left me for a short period of time because I was using and drinking. June 18th.
Okay.
I didn't get to see my son for Father's Day. I hooked up with my friend Tony. We ended up in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong girl or whatever. I don't know what happened still to this day. I ended up finding him dead from an OD. Okay. And he wasn't a heroin addict. It was like his first time. I guess I didn't see him use whatever happened. Something happened that night that I don't know about, but so here I am now. Lost my business, lost my family, just lost my best friend. Going about the most downward spiral I could be. And I was suicidal. I didn't want to live. I was broke. I mean, I didn't know what to do. I'm living in this giant mansion over down the road here in Geneva National, this big empty house, and just alone, losing everything, right? Mm. I was figuring out a way to I had a $3 million life insurance policy. I was trying to figure out a way that that I could kill myself so that my kid could get left the money because I thought it was better for him. And then something hit me that I can do it again. I remember laying on my bed. I can remember the moment right now talking to you. I had $200 in an idea. And we ended up taking that $200 and turning it into another trucking company. I got a guy to help me get it up and running. And we turned that into a $6 million company within like 10 months. So.
Wow. Dude, that's amazing, man. I really like to hear how you kind of bounce back from that.
You pretty much did like the thing you did before, but a lot faster, isn't it?
I had to, right? I had to do it faster. Now here's the thing, because I couldn't have a lot of things in my name because I just tanked, right? So I was able to maneuver around, but I never had full 100 complete control. It was my ideas and through somebody else, right? So things got a little bit sticky there in that situation, and that's why I ended up getting out of there. But the reason I did it so fast, because I absolutely hated trucking, I absolutely hated it, was because I had my brother, my friends, they were all dependent on a job, and I care about it. So like, as I was coming through in my business that I had, the big one, I was like MC Hammer, man. I took care of everybody. I took care of everyone's paychecks, cars, phones. I had to. So I've been providing for so long for everybody. I had to do it quick, and I got them up, got it running. Then I took a little bit of money and I stepped back. I didn't take a lot from it, but I got out of there and went on and did something different.
Would you say that, like, if you're running solo, would you say there's a big difference for you if you know that there's other people that are depending on you for their job, for their income? Does that push you a little bit more?
It does. It did. But here's where I'm at right now. So now I know what I don't want, right? Everything went down. Everything crashed. Everything burned. People were mad at me. Everyone hated me. Came around. I went to rehab. I kept messing up. Now my life is so far. I had to go through that to completely. There was no separation. I wasn't getting out of that hole no matter what, right? That stress of having to provide for people so close, it's not just showing up and get your job or do your job. It was more like having their hand in my pocket the whole time. So yes, it pushed me to a mental state that was not healthy. A lot of stress. Now, as I'm rebuilding, building my brand, what you see online and doing my stuff, I know one thing. I'm not going to have any overhead. I'm not going to have any payroll. I'm saying? I'm going to keep everything to a minimal, no payroll, and get something that it can make me money at night. The business that I need to make, the model that I'm after, is going to make money while I sleep. And with no one, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to put it together so that it automates and I can then do my work in the daytime. So I'm going to make myself scalable. I'm selling myself and selling my story is basically what's the right thing for me now.
So tell us a little bit about this business, this venture you have. Like, I believe you have aren't you launching a product tomorrow?
Yeah, so basically what this is, it is, so we skipped the part where, so that we can bring it up to speed, because Alexis here doesn't know exactly what's going on. So I had to go get a job right after I got out of that $6 million company. I had a little bit of money. I think I had 40, 50 grand in a safe, cash. I ended up relapsing again, and I burned through every single dollar. every single dollar,
Oh my
right?
gosh. Really?
And here I am sick, no job, going, what am I going to do, right? I walked into the car dealership, never sold cars, but because I bought 27 vehicles from these guys when I was selling cars or buying cars, they took a chance on me. Actually, the first dealership didn't. Their other one didn't. The second one took a chance on me. I instantly, within the first 4 or 5 months, in the middle of the winter, in a town of 10,000 people, became the top 1% in the car sales. So I sell 30 plus cars a month.
Wow.
Right now.
That's
one a day, right? So my product that I'm making right now, it's not because I can do anything different. It's because I have the mental. I believe I tapped into some different mental stage of my life that I can bust through these barriers. Like I have 2 cars I'm going to sell after we get done with this today. I'm in the middle of working right now doing this with you guys. I have cars going out. I have Facebook going here. I'm going to go get my real estate license and sell houses too. On top of doing all this, because I wanted that's the next level. I want to show people I can go to 1% of selling real estate. But anyways, the product is 30 and 30. And that's basically the mindset, the skills that I did, the things I did in my mind to change it so I could sell 30 cars in 30 days.
I like that. So this is kind of like a blueprint for somebody that is just trying to get started and figure out how they can.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even need to get started,
right,
but the guys that are selling 8, 9, 10 cars that really are just relying on other people, they don't know exactly what they're doing yet. They can, what I'm offering is the product scalable. So it's 125 modules. And then with the launch, I'm going to give them, some time with me for the month of June, some one-on-one training. So you can't do that all the time, but that's a little bad.
So it's also about helping even a car salesman that's been selling for years.
Exactly. I changed the way that our whole dealership here. We have 12 stores. Until I came into this business, it's completely different. I walked into this store, they sold maybe 48 cars a month, right? Now there's me that I sell 30, 35. I mean, I make up 32 to 35% of the sales. I alone right now, or when I was really, really selling, was selling more than one of our other dealerships as a one person. Yeah.
Wow. Just you.
And I'm not trying to, don't mistake
amazing.
My confidence for cockiness. But if you put me in a suburban town, you put me somewhere that there's going to be a lot more people and I have more stuff, I'm going to sell you 70, 75, 80 cars a month.
Yeah.
Consistent. So
that's cool. Well, and that's important because there's a lot of people at that dealership relying, on the sales guys for their jobs too, right? Because there's people that have important jobs, but they're just not a salesperson, and they rely on salespeople to work together.
Definitely, because they're part of like an investment or something for them or something. I mean, when you are good, when you're pretty good at it, I think it's not an investment anymore. But
now I could do this pretty much on autopilot. That's what I like to believe is that if I can do it, I believe that you could do it. I believe you could do it. I believe both of you guys could just jump right in and say, hey, I want to sell cars, right? And here's the thing. I would have sold a lot more cars and done better, but I spent 2 months in rehab last year. So I started in November 23rd, 2014. And then December was my first full month, and we're in the winter. We're in Wisconsin. It's cold. You know what it's like here. I went into rehab. It'd actually be 1 year on June 12th. So Sunday's 1 year that I walked into rehab. So I went to the 1% instantly, but I was walking out on my Saturday meetings with $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 cash, right? And where do you think that was going? Right back to the old.
Right back to the old addiction.
I ended up went into rehab. The dealership put me in rehab. I got out on July 3rd. I'm a great salesman. I talked my way out of the rehab with flying colors, said everything was okay. I relapsed in 6 hours when I got out. Lost my job, lost everything, lost the job. Wow. Everyone was so pissed off at me. I went to Florida. I'm like, what am I going to – actually, I went on an 8-day bender after I got out because I was so depressed that I just messed up. Then I went to Florida. My mom lived down there. Went out to Florida. Got back here. I said, I need my job. They're taking my son away from me. I mean, I'm not going to get too into detail about it, but July 27th was the last time I had a drink or anything like that. And I was good when I went into rehab. When I got out, I was great. Okay, or when I came back, I was great. They took every lead that I had. I sold 90 cars in 90 days with no client base. They took everything. They said, you want your job back? You're starting from the bottom. And I said, well, watch this.
Okay.
That's when I became really great at what I do.
Okay.
Here. So.
Wow, that's awesome, man. It's like, it's such a, it's so interesting to hear about your story about how it's like, it really, the entrepreneurial story is like kind of like the peaks and valleys of just going up and down a mountain, right? And just keep going and reaching higher for next time.
It's not like just like, it's like boom. It's pretty much.
Man, it's not that easy to live. I mean, it's the highs and lows are difficult, man. So I believe that, now that I'm clean, sober, I'm going to make it 1 year with nothing in my body at all. And I believe that I had to go through all that crap, and I'm going to get even further. Right now I'm cleaning up a mess, and I'm building a company, and I'm okay with it. All these people that say they want to be an entrepreneur, and they call themselves, they get out of college, they got their dad's money, they're doing all these things, like that's not really, that's great. I think you should do it. That's awesome. Go for your goals, do what you got to do. But I'm living in right now in the fact that every dollar, I'll go negative into my bank account. I made $140,000 selling cars in 10 months, but I used every dollar. Plus I'm making, what I'm saying? It's taking every single thing I have to get more. And the ability to understand, like to be able to trade the fact that you won't eat for the future is, to me, what makes me an entrepreneur. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to me as well. It's just, if you don't want everyone else's money and you really, really want to focus on what you have, you're like, if I can't eat tomorrow, what am I going to do? And then you start thinking there is 10,000 ideas, and that's what I felt like. I understand your point where you like, when you tend to have nothing, you're like, I have to make money. There's no way, it's like a wild, you have to make it. Otherwise, I was trying
to share that thing for 30, but it didn't work. I don't know. I tried.
Did it work?
Okay.
Let's see.
Okay. Well, that's when you're telling me your story, I'm also thinking about others, and their stories too, because entrepreneurship means a lot to me, and it's probably the one thing I'm most interested in, because I'm always interested in people's stories. But the difference with me is I'm always interested in like the high achievers, the entrepreneurs, the super successful people in business, because to me that's just a huge category for me. I'm always looking at it in stories. I don't know what it is, something about authenticity and conflict. It's a story that always just kind of it raptures us in, right? It pulls us in. We want to hear more about the story, and I think it also helps us kind of grow more as a person, and realize decisions are really important to what kind of outcomes we have.
So you right now, as being an entrepreneur, what are you doing right now? I'd like to ask a question if you don't mind. What's
for
your hustle?
So mine is I really want to learn how to run my business also too, without debt, and with just the ability with a laptop and a phone. And I have a business where I'm a software consultant, and I help people look at the CRM they use in their business, and help them look at the marketing stack and the data flow on how they run that and automate that business so that they can be a lot more, productive, be a lot more efficient, and have a lot more time to do other things too, because being an entrepreneur is really difficult. And I think people that try to do everything themselves, they learn that, there's only 24 hours in the day, and I do got to spend some time with my family. I do got to spend some time with people I care about, because you lose them, especially when you get wrapped up being an entrepreneur. And I've done it before, because I'm very passionate about becoming a better person, a better entrepreneur myself.
When you say that, sacrifice means everything, I believe, to get where I want to go in my next level. I do want a jet. I already have a name picked out for my jet, MJ100. And I'm willing to do. I got my kids, so that's all I have right now is my kid, and then I got this new girlfriend, right? But they're both stand behind me and sold 100% on. He's 6. We don't get it, but he writes the goals down with me every morning and understands, what I'm going to sacrifice. Like some nights I'm not home till 9, 10 o'clock at night because I'm working. I get it. I need to be there, but you're not going to hear me crying that I can't be by him, because I'm choosing it, because I'm going to give him the better life. I understand right now he's 6, right? He's not out doing drugs. He's not got bad influence. He's with a safe environment. I need to take advantage of the fact that I can love him and he loves me and he knows what I'm doing and we're doing the right thing. So when he is ready to be in those tough situations, we're flying around on my jet going to Panama. We're doing all these things together instead of letting him go down the wrong road. But I'm willing to work almost every single hour of the day if I have to. And not, I mean, you'll crash at some point, right? But the truth is, I'm willing to work every single hour of the day that I don't have him. I don't care. If I could sell cars all night, I still would.
Right.
I mean, if I could sell real estate, if I could do beans, if I could do this, anything that we're gonna do that I can do to make money, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense, right? Anything I can do, I'm gonna continuously bust my ass.
So you can open a shop, like at night, for car sales, like day and night, 24
That's why I think it's so cool. Like once I get my program up and running, and I know that's going to take some work, right? Because we're learning how to do the funnels and getting all the stuff. We're trying to fully automate it so that people I can take them through the sales process and they're going to sell. Then I can actually watch that work at night, and ideally, I can't wait till I can build something that makes money 24 hours a day.
I think that's really good because we're at such an opportunistic time right now. I think people don't realize that anybody can get started running a business online if they just figure out a few things, and they don't have to spend a lot of money to figure it out. And they can start testing things out and learn that work today is totally different. Like you're at your office, at the car dealership, and that's different because it's like real estate too. You can't be a real estate agent unless you're in that city, in that location, looking at houses and showing people. But there's another level of work today where we can start working like this, where I'm working with people all over the world. Like I have different clients in 4 different time zones right now that outside the United States. And I couldn't do that if I remained as like a traditional real estate agent.
The online stuff is very, very new to me, man. Like I never thought in a million years this. I was like very entrepreneurial, but I was like brick and mortar. Like I thought I'm going to build business after business after business. This makes it so it's almost like fake. I mean, truthfully, how easy it is to put something up and sell it online and make something. I mean, you got to have a great, valuable product to do really well. But there are guys out there that are making a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? So it's really amazing. We're very fortunate to live in the time that we do to be able to make money. Like I can tell you guys are probably home right now, right? and you're working, and that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's even a lot of companies now when people go into their cubicles and jobs that majority of those companies, like I was just watching guys like VaynerMedia and Gary Vaynerchuk there. So many businesses like Twitter, LinkedIn, VaynerMedia. People show up to work looking like this. They're not going in a suit and tie anymore. And then they also learn too that a lot of the staff, they're working at home like I am, so they're a remote worker. You don't go into the office every day 9 to 5. That lifestyle is going away.
For me, I don't know that it's ever going to go away because of the addiction. I have to go do something. Like I couldn't do your job. I'm going to do the same, like similar things. I'm going to make money online and I'm going to build this engine, this monster, if you will. But I'm also going to have another job where I got to go work, man, because I got to do something. If I sit home or if I don't relax, like I don't go on the boat, I don't lay out in the sun, I don't do that kind of stuff, man. I want to work because I don't want to relapse. And that, for me, I think is what's going to make me very successful. It's also a very isolated life, man. It's not a lot of fun, I can tell you that.
You don't feel like the more you actually work, the more you want to do things, and the less you actually work, the less you want to do things, and that's how things going. I feel like so, but just wanted to ask you because you're doing so many things at the same time, so you could have a better overview than me.
What do you mean? The more I do, the more I want to do?
Yeah, I mean, like if you just work like 4 hours a day and then you relax all day and you just watch TV or whatever, then like are you gonna want to do less? But if you work like 8 hours or more, you want to do more all the time?
Always.
Is that how?
That's how I'm built. Because I don't know when the last time I only worked 8 hours was.
Sorry?
I mean, I don't know when the last time since I got out of rehab. I've been at the dealership every hour they've been open. on top of building everything. You know, I think I went to Florida with my son for a week. I went nuts. He had a blast, but I was fighting it. Like I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything. But to answer your question, man, I'm not saying everybody should live the way that I do, because I also have this, I'm sick. You know, I believe the addiction is sick, but I have to do it. But the point is, if you want to be a real entrepreneur, you got to bust your ass. It's not easy, man. You get punched in the face every single day. I mean, I'm sure you guys are probably doing great at your businesses, but how hard was it to get where you're at right now?
Yeah, it was tough, man. I had lots of friends and family always telling me, like, Gary, what are you doing, man? Go get a job. I'm like, what is it? You know, like, I create jobs. So my personality is I'm always coming up with new ideas. So I know that I can't just go work at a company and them tell me what to do. And then this is what I do every day. Every day I come back for the next year, the next 2, the next 3. I'm always coming up with new ideas. So I might run a business today and try to build it. But I'm going to have new ideas to where I want to build another business. So my struggle is I'm always thinking, well, these ideas, these businesses, they need to be connected. If they don't make sense and can't work together, then I don't.
Try to link everything together.
Underlying question.
Somehow, some way.
Yeah. Yeah. So like this show that we're doing with you, you know, like Alexis and I are just doing it because, one, we want to just build a community for entrepreneurs and people, and bring on people that have lived it, have the success, have the struggles, so we can provide some context around that. And we don't get paid for it, but we know eventually, if it makes sense, people are going to join and the audience is going to grow. People will tune into our content. We'll have more articles and things written. So at that point, then the money will start coming. You know, advertisers,
the stuff that I do, I
start
don't get paid for. You know, when you look at it, how much stuff I work, how much time I work, right? You're not collecting dollars right then and there, but it's building up for the bigger thing. So you have to be able to be okay with the fact that 75% of the time you're not getting paid, but the other 25% you are. And when you work that many hours, that 25% is much larger. Your income's going to be a hell of a lot more. That's how I look at it. Anyways.
Definitely. But definitely. You know, it's interesting that you were talking about how you want to go away from that liability point where you'd like to have a business that's able to run without you and have some automation to it so that you can have maybe a different lifestyle. And obviously, without the stress, I could see that's a huge factor. Who wants to have all that stress weighing them down? And for my business, what I've been doing, one of my goals, I believe success is all relative. So success isn't having a mansion, having a Maserati, and having, $100 million in the bank account. Sometimes it's just having a kid, having 5 kids, having a family, and being a stay-at-home mom to someone. That's successful. If they could have that happy lifestyle, to them, that's success. And that's where I kind of see success too. Is just depends on the person, depends on what they find valuable, what's important to them, and how they want to live out their lifestyle.
To each their own. Whatever's going to make someone successful, or in their opinion, I deal with that all the time. Because the majority of my friends, my family, they're not even freaking. They have no clue about why they don't understand why I work so much or what I do, but they want to have the picket fence and all these things, and that's the way they're raised, and that's successful to them. I would never knock their dream, so I expect them not to knock my dream. But here's what I do know: I've been rich, really rich, and I've been really, really, really broke.
Yeah. And
it's a hell of a lot easier to be rich than it is to be broke. So if you're going to work your ass off, why not get paid?
That's for sure.
Why not get paid? You don't got to be a prick. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to be cocky. You don't got to be the $100 millionaire. But you got the money. You can actually do good with that money too. Like my number one goal that I write down every single day is that I'm the top giver in my church, community, and charity of my choice. Okay. So if I'm going to make $100 million, I'm going to give away $10 million. That's how that's going to work.
I like that. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they're giving, they're a lot more, they're bigger givers than people give guys credit for. So I definitely give you a lot of props for how hard you work and the things you want to do, because you're going to provide a lot of opportunities for people in the future. And I'm sure you've already done a lot for people already in the past.
Yep. This is now the next journey. I'm going to do it the right way. Do it without the problems.
So what's your goal for the future?
Nice.
Or what do you want to achieve, in your dream?
What is my dream?
Yeah, I mean, when I mean dream, I mean like what's your achievement when like at the moment, like dream, like in the long term enough.
Yeah, the long terms have multiple businesses, multiple streams of income. But like, so when I write down my goals, I want to be the top, top sales training, motivational, inspirational type coach that I can be. You know, like to be in the 1% in that realm. That's for me what my brick and mortar business is going to be. I want to be going, speaking, helping, doing stuff like that. But for me, there is money. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, I want the money. I want the wealth. I don't want the huge house. I don't want that. But I want to leave generational wealth for my kids, so they don't have to struggle. Man, I came from the trailer, right? And I've lived in homeless and bounced around. I don't want that for anybody. I've had the big mansions, I've had all that, but the truth is when you work hard, you're going to get it there. So the one thing that I really, really want is just to provide and leave a legacy for my son and the family on for them. And that doesn't, to me, that's a good man, but it is going to have money, man. It is. I'm not ashamed of it. That's what I want.
I like that because I think of legacy too is the same way. It's like, what can I have that's almost like a living entity, like a part of me that's still around for people to use and profit and benefit from when I'm dead. I look at legacy the same way. I want to have businesses that are alive.
I mean, because if you look at it, you can basically take like the employment identification number, and you can turn that, which is a social security number in its own. You can make a living, breathing thing out of a business. I've done it twice already. It wasn't me; it was the business, and so that's what I want to do. I want to build multiple different streams of income in corporations, but I think it's going to be different. I think it's going to be all the way this, man. Obviously, the way of the future is what we're doing right here, online stuff.
It's all about online for sure. It's going to be.
I sound so stupid because I don't know anything about online either.
Well, it's all just software, you know. In our closing remarks here, what I'll do, I'm going to hit the stop record, and then you can stick around with us for a little bit if you have time, if you'd like to.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you mentioned that because that's a good way to close the recording. But we'll stick around here. Was your dream and what you want to build out for the future, and your legacy is as having those multiple businesses alive and producing, valuable content, valuable products for people, and even livelihoods. Whether they're involved with it and making money with you at the same time.
I mean, I need to give back. I mean, one thing we didn't touch on is God, obviously. So for me, that's a huge part of my life. It started when I found him he'd always walked with me. I've always walked with him, I should say. But when I was in rehab and I'm laying on this plastic piss-soaked bed, right, from whoever slept on it before, with this 50-year-old something dude that looks like he's about 80 scratching his ass. And I'm going, man, this is my life. Like, I've been a millionaire. Like, I've been to all these amazing places in the world, and here I am laying on I could be in jail. The next step was either jail or dead. I just was a little bit smarter than the cops, and going, this is my life, man. And I cried that night to God, and didn't mean that I was saved and I was perfect or whatever right there, but it completely changed who I was as a person. Because the guy that's talking to you right now wasn't the same guy a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. So, to me, God's got a huge impact in my life.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think once we all hit that point, we're gonna definitely. You'll start if you've never talked to God before. Absolutely. You'll talk to him at that point.
It was a turning point for sure. But I want to hear about. So, Alexis, what do you do? What's your gig over there? 6 in the morning.
Yeah, at the moment, like I'm doing like mainly like I'm a web developer, so it's all about like like online thing, I would say. So at the moment I'm working full time, and on top of that, like running that show and like with Gary, and then doing other stuff like a blog for entrepreneurs where I want to bring all the knowledge together. So I'm doing different things, but I've tried in the past like a few things with another person that worked with me, and we tried to build like a software, like I would say kind of like a quote system. But the thing is, our time was very, very limited, and like things didn't go the best that it could. But it teach me a lot of things about, like not being able to eat tomorrow and stuff like that. And I would say it wasn't successful, but I learned from it, and now I'm want to try again at some point. I'm kind of on a break to start again something when I feel like 100% again. But right now,
why do you gotta be 100%?
What?
Why do you got to be 100%?
I have no idea why. It's just when you don't find exactly what you want again, and you search for it and you try again, then I prefer to pause and think, because I want to be right. And I know it's weird, but it just jumps sometimes, like straight away.
I've been in that situation where I'd overthink things. I wanted it to be right, and I want it to be right, but I tell you what, you never know if it's going to be right, man. And if you waste all that you wasted yesterday thinking about if it was going to be right or not going to be right, and you could have started and been getting going and took an action and been steered a completely different direction today, man. My thought always is, you gotta take action, massive, right action, not to copy Grant Cardone, but the right massive action is what needs to be taken always. That's just my opinion. I'm never waiting. I'm dominating.
Yes. Since I've gotten to know Alexis, what I've learned about him, like his personality and mine, is he's on the opposite side of the personality, like the way he is and the way he thinks. I put a link to our website, and on there we've got a description and a picture of successful entrepreneurs and a description about what they're smart with. And I kind of see it as there's 4 categories. And so Alexis is what I think is, I told him, I think he's a detailed smart person. So he's like a Mark Zuckerberg or a JD Rockefeller, where they really see the whole picture and they know like kind of the frame, the network and the frame that needs to be building it. So they just want to work on building out those connections
being
to the
a
entire
programmer
frame
and being really into building stuff. It's all about being like not perfect, but at least running the things properly where it doesn't crash. And since then, I learned so much about like being like as good as possible, which make problems as well, because I can't take action, which is like an example. When you go for sales, you have to take action, otherwise you can't make it. But yeah,
you'd have the most perfect product or the most perfect everything, but if you don't do anything with it, how are you going to get it out?
And my weakness is that sale thing that come with that product to make it happen. That's exactly what it is. I completely agree. That's my weakness, and I'm happy to know that it is, because I can work on it, or find the right person or whatever it is. But there is a solution. I agree.
Yeah,
there's a solution to everything.
What?
There's a solution to everything.
Yes, I completely agree.
There is, man. When Alexis and I met and we first talked about doing this show, he was like, yeah, let's build it. I want to do this. I want to do that. And he had built a really good website called Love Startups, and it works really well. He collects all this different information about entrepreneurs and videos from around the web. But I was just like, well, let's do this. And he's like, okay, well, yeah, let's build it out. Okay, maybe it'll take us like 6 months, build it out. I'm all, no, let's just start right now.
Right.
And then we'll just figure it out along the way. So like, totally build your product as you are out there actually trying to earn people's respect or earn their business. And he's like, okay. So then I just started booking people. I called people. We didn't even have anything set up. And I just started calling people, and I had 3 people booked for our next 3 shows and on a Saturday night between 8 p.m. and 12 a.m. I was reaching out. And so
I did the same thing with the 30 and 30 program. I wanted to do it. And I'm like, so we have a green screen. We have everything next door, and at my Dodge dealership right next door. So I went in the middle of the day, and I would knock out 2 or 3 hours of filming. I went without I just put it to paper, or took it from a piece of paper to action. And I did it I knocked out like a week and a half. Could I have probably done it better and took Alexis's route and been a little more strategic? Yeah, but you know what? I wouldn't have got it done. So what if this product isn't the right first product that I'm going to get out? It's going to make me known, right? It's going to take me out of obscurity, and it's done, and I have something to sell. Now my guys having to figure out how to market it because I went too quick for them. I'd rather do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I can't deny. I think it's the right way. It's just me that need to learn that way to make it happen. But it's definitely a good advice. That's all I can say. Completely agree.
I'm going to take a second here. I'm going to pause and I'll end this recording now, and then Mark, we can stick around for a few minutes. As long as you can before you got your
about
appointment.
5 minutes or so I can get wrapped up.
We have plenty of time.
Awesome. Right. Oh yeah, totally, man. So everybody, thanks. We're going to go ahead and stop this recording. But if you're with us on Blab, you can continue to hang out. Otherwise, you'll be watching this